Hello, my name is David Blakesley. I'm the host of the Criterion Reflections podcast and a longtime blogger and podcaster about movies related to the Criterion collection. I'm here to talk about Black God, White Devil. July 16th is today, and that's the day that this wonderful set just hit the market. And I've gotten a review copy sent to me by Criterion. I appreciate that very much. Whether I had paid for it or been given the complimentary copy, I'm sure my reactions would have been pretty much the same. I am blown away, just really impressed by this powerful and very unique film. So I've already done a couple clips about this. I did a kind of a first reaction shot, and then I did another one about one of the features, supplemental features on these discs, Glauber the movie, Labyrinth of Brazil. So I won't recap those too much, but I may have some things to say that are similar because the impressions they made on me. But let's talk about Black God, White Devil. What are we talking about here? This is a film directed by Glauber Rocha. He was 23 years old when he started putting the project together, 25 years old when it was finally finished and released in 1964. It got a lot of popular acclaim in Brazil. It was a big sensational type of movie. Really kind of kicked off or at least enhanced the Cinema Novo movement, and I'll say more about that because it's explained very nicely in a documentary, again another supplement on this package here, but it also was on the short list, or at least it was nominated by the nation of Brazil to be the Academy Award entry from that nation in 1964, maybe 65. It did not win. I think Battle of Algiers may have gotten that honor, but in fact it was not even officially nominated. It wasn't selected for the final cut, but it definitely got a lot of attention, especially by those who were kind of more tuned into the new wave that was happening, the French Nouvelle Vague and other kind of revolutionary and radical cinema movements happening in different countries around the world. So Black God, White Devil is a story of the poor people, the peasants, and some of the hardships that they have to endure in this time of great corruption and greed and just strong injustice. So the arc of the story deals with a couple, Manuel and Rosa. Manuel is a laborer. He works for a wealthy landowner, kind of a cowhand, I guess you could say. And in the midst of a dispute between him and his boss, the boss is trying to swindle him out of money that he's rightfully earned. That turns into an argument, and Manuel ends up taking his boss's life, and he and his wife basically have to run because they will be in big trouble if they get caught. And so he is a desperate man, and he's also a susceptible man. He falls kind of under the spell of this fellow named Saint Sebastian. He's a dark-skinned Brazilian, a black man who fancies himself a bit of a prophet, and he certainly has the mystique and the aura, the presentation to carry that off. He's very convincing in that role. Even though we also see that there's a very brutal and humane side to this supposed holiness that he embodies. He has a very strong and uncompromising message of contempt and hatred toward the wealthy, and also exerts a lot of discipline upon his followers. His community is perched on top of this holy mountain, literally a holy mountain. There's a church up there, and I guess it's still there to this day, and it overlooks kind of the surrounding area. And so the first half of the film really is as Manuel and Rosa, as Manuel becomes ever more drawn in to this very charismatic holy man, to his own detriment to a certain extent. And then we start to see the story broaden out as we learn that the Catholic Church has a pretty strong antipathy towards Saint Sebastian, and they hire a man, Antonio das Mortes, to basically assassinate this holy man. The church doesn't want to do the dirty work themselves, so they pay this kind of this mercenary hitman to go out and do the job for them. But he is pretty wary of this. He recognizes that he's dealing with some dangerous concerns. I mean, maybe he is messing with God's anointed and chosen prophet. He doesn't really want to, send himself to hell for the sake of a bag of coins. And there's also the danger, of course, of crossing this man and his followers. And then we see another character emerge, and that's the guy who you see on the cover here. His name is Corisco, and he is the charismatic leader of a band of roaming bandits that basically they do the Robin Hood thing. They steal from the rich, they give to the poor, and he has his own powerful presence and charisma and authority. I'm kind of giving you the sketch of the plot outline, but really that's just kind of the story that you walk through here.
Acho que não adianta.
Mas pode vir um milagre do céu. O homem não pode ser escravo do homem. Pobre vai ficar rico do lado de Deus. E quem é rico vai ficar pobre nas profundas do inferno. Estou condenado, mas tenho coragem. Trago minha força ao meu santo para libertar o meu povo.
Nós lhe damos 300 contos. O senhor acabar com os piados.
O padre pode achar que Sebastião tem parte com o diabo. Mas eu acho que ele tem parte com Deus também.
Depois você vai embora daqui. Compra uma fazenda e vive em paz o resto da vida.
Ele eu mato, perseguindo até o fim.
It's gripping. It's very compelling and riveting, and it held my attention and really drew me in, because it's not just the drama of these very unusual characters. It's the way the film is put together, the music, the way that interweaves. It is this kind of dark, unsettling, spiritual vibe that's happening there, as a real true drama of life and death and oppression and fanaticism, misery and mystery, the lurking presence of something kind of primeval and savage that's kind of at the heart of all the conflicts and all the struggles and pressures that unfold over the course of the 2 hours of this film. So it is a very multi-sensory experience. The visuals, the music, the emotions that the images and the editing stir up. It's a beautiful restoration. It's very crisp, very clear, strong. Just a brilliant film all the way around. So I give Black God, White Devil my highest recommendation as far as the film itself. But this set really has a lot going for it, especially, as I said in one of my previous clips, I'm pretty new to all of this. I have not really studied cinema novo. And there's a nice hour-and-a-half documentary that really covers the breadth of the movement, which I think was pretty much confined to the 1960s, with maybe one or two films that could be seen as precursors of cinema novo, or maybe the first titles in that movement prior to Black God, White Devil. But this was the one that really kick-started it and kind of just changed Brazilian cinema in so many different ways. And then to watch it like I did just one time through, it's kind of like a greatest hits checklist, if you will, of cinema novo. So there's a lot more to be discovered. To the film's credit, there are some very nicely edited kind of lyrical passages where they won't just kind of talk about each film and kind of bludgeon you with all kinds of words, but they really do string the images together in these nice sequences that give a kind of a more of a poetic sense of what this movement was about. And of course, there are interviews with directors. It's not just all about Glauber Rocha. There are other names that none of them have like stuck with me as far as I'm going to tell you more about them. But it is probably a document that I'll revisit as I find ways to get more familiar with this very intriguing cinematic movement. I talked a little bit about the Glauber Rocha documentary, Glauber the movie, Labyrinth of Brazil. Did a kind of an extended clip about that. So that's kind of my coverage there. I definitely recommend that you check that out, because to me that was really the essential companion piece to Black God, White Devil. And then there's another film on here, Memoria do Cangaçal. I think I'll give that a shot. It's a short documentary about the Cangaçal form of social banditry in northeastern Brazil. There's also a commentary track by a guy named Lino Meirelles. He is the producer of the 4K restoration that created this transfer. He first saw the film about 20 years ago, a DVD copy, lower resolution. A lot of the details of the image that are restored here were not really even available or present or visible in that earlier edition. But this is a man who knows this film very intimately. I mean, he was very involved in the restoration, so he's watched every scene and understands the edits and Rocha's strategies and methods about how he put this film together. And so it's an excellent commentary track. He knows when to shut up and just let the movie do its thing, but he has a lot of insightful observations to offer. And that's another pretty valuable contribution that I don't know you're going to get if you find ways to watch this movie elsewhere. On the Criterion channel, you can watch the film and the commentary track. There's an interview with Richard Pena. He is the kind of the talking head, kind of visual essay guy who kind of gives a 20-minute or so overview. So if you just want to hear a guy more informed and knowledgeable than myself talk about the film and Glauber Rocha, that's on here as well. But and so here's what you get inside. Now, one of the discs is in my player right now, disc 2. So you got the 2 discs, 2 Blu-rays, and then you've got this little fold out here. Nice essay. There's a picture of Glauber, and he is quite a wild man. He's a real character, very appealing figure, I suppose, in the sense of fascinating to watch guys who just poured their whole life into their art and make the whole experience of their lives a performance, a work of art in itself. I think this is probably going to be one of my favorite Criterion releases of the year. I know there are some bigger box sets, and maybe there's some more familiar titles and releases that may, certainly rank a lot higher for a lot of folks. But this one made a very strong impact on me, and it's maybe the kind of film that might get a little bit overlooked because you just don't know what it's about. This cover is a beautiful work of art. It's based on the original theatrical. Even the same font, of course, of the Brazilian. It's got the actual title of the film is God and the Devil in the Land of the Sun, which is a different meaning than Black God, White Devil. Black God, White Devil does fit, but it's not exactly a literal translation of what Glauber Rocha had in mind. Having said all that, great film, excellent release. I think you should check it out.